Well, Pete, we've seen a contraction in the pool of new home building projects yet to commence over the first half of this year, and that pool is going to contract even further over the second half. What we're expecting to see are housing commencements, that's slabs on the ground, reduced to levels that we haven't seen in 30 years. And so that's going to have a big impact on all those tradies out there and all those people that have got jobs in our industry and the flow-on effect to other industries. So, yeah, we're seeing that at risk up to 500,000 jobs in our industry going forward into the next half of the year.
So is that up until a certain amount of time or begins from a certain amount of time? What are the timeframes that you're working towards when you are so specific on those numbers?
Well, the number of starts that we will see in the second half of the year will be less than half of the number of starts that we saw in the same period 3 years ago. So we've already seen a contraction. That contraction is happening faster than we would have liked, and we're seeing the new home sales that we expect to come through the pipeline to be moving into new slabs on the ground. They've been very, very slow over the first half of this year, and in fact we've been seeing a lot of cancellations. So the impact is that we're just going to see fewer slabs poured in the second half of the year.
So what you're saying is, you know, there will be a lot of builders out at the moment who may well complete the current jobs that they're on, but once those jobs are complete, if they haven't been cancelled, then there won't be any new ones to go to because people can't afford it.
Well, people can't afford it. People are worried about their jobs. People are worried about when we're going to get the restrictions to our lives eased a little bit more. So they're holding back. And there is a pipeline of work that needs to happen before we get to slabs on ground, and we're not seeing that happen. So we're about 6 months or 9 months away from seeing a person who wants to make a decision move into pouring a concrete slab and providing the jobs for the carpenters and the painters and electricians.
Graham, 500,000 jobs. I mean, that just sounds devastating.
Well, it will be devastating for all of those tradies out there, the electricians, the plumbers, the carpenters, the plasterers, the concreters. But it's not just those people involved, it's all the people behind the desk at the front end of the job, the designers, the estimators, the project schedulers. There's a lot of people behind the desk that are involved in the work before we get to site. Their jobs have already been restricted, and we're seeing a fallout of people in that part of the industry too, which is bad news for the recovery of the industry and bad news for the recovery of the Australian economy.
Would they not be helped by JobKeeper and JobSeeker?
Well, that's interesting. There are some in our industry who have been able to access JobKeeper, but there are many in our industry because of the nature of the contract legislation that exists for consumer protection laws around the country. Builders have been continuing to do the work that's been in that pipeline, and as they complete that work, they continue to get revenue. That revenue hasn't dropped to 30%, but we're not getting new orders coming in the front door. And that 6 to 9 month pipeline has stopped. So we're not seeing orders coming in the front door. So all of those people, up to about 160,000 workers behind the desk in the pre-construction phases of the projects, they don't have any work and they're being let go. And because their employers have not experienced a 30% drop, they're not eligible for JobKeeper. So it's a real flaw in the JobKeeper arrangements.